He's an electrical engineer by day that has a true knack for electric guitars. We're going to be talking with Adrian Zvarych next on Solo Notes.
When I'm with you, doesn't matter where we are or what we're doing, I feel that's all that matters. And I feel them when I try to decide which one to try to put into words. Whoa, whoa, try to put into words. Whoa, 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 whoa. Mostly I'm silent. Silent, well, na 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 na. Never think of bad words to say. Yeah. When I kiss you, I feel 1,000 different feelings. The color of chills all over my body. Quickly try to decide which one I should try to put into words. Whoa, whoa, should try to put into words. Whoa, 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 whoa. Silent, silent, na 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 na. Only the beginning, only just the start, only the beginning of what I want to feel forever. Yeah, only the beginning, only just the start, only the beginning. What I want to feel forever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I want to feel forever. Yeah, only the beginning.
Hi, I'm Eric Alexander. You're watching Deltona TV, and this is Solo Notes. And today we are visiting with local resident Adrian Zvarych. How you doing, Adrian?
Good, Eric. How
I
you
appreciate you being with us tonight.
It's awesome to be here.
Terrific. Yes, so you are an electrical engineer by day, now, and you work for a pretty big company that sends you around the country doing your I know that you help a lot of companies and electric companies with your job to be more efficient.
Be more efficient, save electricity, revise, put smart technologies in their substations and all. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Well, that's seems like a pretty smart thing to be able to do. So now you've transferred all of that great technical ability into playing guitars, both guitar and bass, acoustic, electric, and bass. Correct? Are there any other instruments you play? Or those?
I've been noodle around with something, but other things. But really, the guitars are pretty much it, right?
Well, you are master. Would you say you're more proficient on the bass or on the guitar?
Ooh. I don't know. I'm going to leave that for other people to decide. I think for me, I started off playing guitar when I was 13 and up in Pittsburgh, and by the time I started playing, I soon realized that everybody else that was playing guitar had started when they were 6 and 7. So everybody was playing, Doobie Brothers and Allman Brothers riffs and things like that, and I was still trying to get that C out. Yeah. But nobody wanted to play bass guitar back then.
Right.
So
I can relate to that.
Yep. So I just said, well, there's a hole. Let me go fix it. Right. So I started off. I tuned my little electric guitar that I had back then. Tuned the last 4 strings down and started playing in a middle school jazz band of all things.
Played bass on an acoustic guitar.
On an electric guitar.
On an electric guitar.
Tuned down.
Well, that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So you obviously had quite an ear to figure all that out to begin with.
Yeah.
So 13 years old. You say you're in from Pittsburgh originally.
That's right. Jazz capital of the Northeast.
Is that
right?
Okay.
Well, Boston might have a problem, and New York had a problem, but hey, there's a lot of good people that came out of Pittsburgh. A lot of good jazz greats,
right?
Yeah. So.
Would you say that? What do you have a special genre that you prefer to play? I mean, I've played with you, and I'll tell you, you're proficient on both guitar and bass. But we've done some pop, jazz, funk stuff. But what do you? Is that where you feel like your strengths are? Or?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, yeah, I think in anything with a good groove, a good beat, is pretty much where it seems like the center, my sweet spot seems to be. I gravitate towards that. Yeah, even if it's a simple drum pattern that somebody's playing, I can generally try to find a groove in that somewhere, and then just lay down the bottom or lay down some chords on top. It just depends on what the song is, right? What the need is.
Right. Yeah. So, starting at 13, did you take any lessons? Did you? How did you grow into this, or did you self-taught?
Oh, right. So, well, my dad was walking around the house playing guitar. Just by ear, Ukrainian folk music. It was really. Yeah, it was kind of colorful. And eventually he got a piano. So I mean, I was surrounded by music as a kid, just listening. And finally at 13, it's like, hey, Dad, let me try that. Let me see if I can do this. So right down the, right across the street almost from our high school, there was a Cliff Spratt Music Studio, and so actually I went through Mel Bay, all 7 books.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mel Bay, yes,
yeah,
I'm familiar with them.
So my guitar teacher, Cliff, who owned the store. He had this big old Gibson, big body jazz guitar, and he would just play so sweet. He taught me "A Girl from Ipanema" and a few other Wave, and some other jazz guitar chord solos.
Great.
But
cool.
it was kind of like, I guess I was more of a late bloomer because I got it, but the groove part really wasn't there yet.
Right.
But as I started playing with the jazz band, there's nothing like having like just all the horns and everything around you to kind of force you to kind of get locked in, right? And so, especially when you got a good drummer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, gotta have the good backbeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so he helped to bring you into that between school, the high school, and taking private lessons. That's kind of just how you did it. So. Yeah,
that was it. And I actually did a stint on tuba. So,
okay.
So that actually, it's kind of funny, right? So it helped. I was learning, treble clef on guitar. And here, they needed a tubist, right, for the concert band. So I volunteered. Actually, my friend volunteered me, but it helped me learn bass clef, right? So I can read both, and that's really been just a blessing, ever since then, right?
Right.
I can still read. Yeah.
So did you play in bands? Did you go start in any of the bar bands or anything like that?
Right. It was mostly weddings. We got bands together. I guess I have some good stories to tell. We don't have time for that now, but some good stories. We did everything from like Cub Scout parties on the back porch to weddings. We saw all kinds of things going on there, but yeah, primarily weddings and private parties. Is where we cut our teeth on. So anything that was top 40, the rock and roll stuff that was going on back then, all the disco stuff from the late 70s, early 80s. Donna Summer and Whitney and all those, right? So so that was pretty pretty good. Good time.
So we just got through playing a Chicago song.
Yes.
Very cool. A lot of fun. What made you pick that song?
Well, there's a couple of things. First, I just like Chicago. I remember my sister's 10 years older, so and she brought albums, everything from Bob Dylan to Chicago home, and she never listened to the stuff, right? So it was like, oh, what's this? It's a big black cover with just a little tiny logo in the middle, right? The old first CTA album.
Right.
And that song, has meant a couple of things to me. Number one, it was, when my wife and I, way back 100 years ago, we were just dating in high school. It was just a beginning, right? It was just the beginning of the start of something.
That's right. Yeah. And the song called "The Beginnings."
Yeah. And every day we get a fresh start, right? So every day there's kind of message in there too. So it's a kind of encouragement thing.
So this next song that we're gonna do is an original.
Yes.
And kind of a jazz original. Do you have a name for it yet? Or have
I call it sweet.
Sweet. All right. It is sweet. Yeah.
I don't always play it sweetly, but that's my goal. You got to have a goal out there, right?
Yeah.
So.
So you do a lot of writing. You think that and.
Yeah, enough to just get things out of my head. Right.
To express your creativity.
To express the creativity. Yeah, because every time I pick a guitar up, there'll be a different kind of progression that comes out or a different pattern. It's it's always seemed to. Has always been there, right?
I can relate to that a little bit.
Right.
And, so we're going to be doing another song. I get the honor of playing with Adrian.
Awesome.
This original song, it's calling it Sweet, and we're going to hear that next here on Solo Notes. Hi, I'm Eric Alexander, speaking with Adrian Zvarych today on Solo Notes. That was a lot of fun. Great song, great chord changes. Really enjoyed that a lot.
Well, and great playing with you again. You had a lot of nice emotion and sonic character to the song.
I love adding or doing original stuff. It does, like we said, it helps the creativity flow a little bit. And now you're a man of faith, and I know you. This next song we're going to end up doing here is on the bass guitar. Now you had a story about this bass how you acquired this beautiful. Now tell me something about the bass a little bit. It's a ESP.
Sure, it's an ESP Horizon 6 or 5 string, and I guess it's made out on the West Coast, but it was actually made special for this drum and bass contest that old music store back in St. Pete area. They used to hang out with Seminole Music. So knew all the folks there. Used to come in and just kind of noodle around and kid around with the folks and see what new things had come out. And one day I was just sitting there playing, and they said, you know, we're having a drum and bass wars coming up.
Drum and bass
drum
wars.
and bass wars. You know, to get your armor on, right?
Isn't that interesting?
So, and I said, well, okay, you know, like I said, competitive. Competitive on the softball field, right? Get me out there, and I'm all about it, right? But on music, it's more about like harmony and and fitting in with people and musical dialogue, right? I mean, I really enjoy that. Excuse me, but
I like that term, musical dialogue.
Yeah,
I'll use
right.
that. I'm gonna steal that.
Okay, you can have that. Yeah, we'll have the contract at the end of the thing. So,
no, I said steal it. I wasn't playing it off.
That's right. That's right. Okay, all right, I got it now. So, anyways, so I agreed. I mean, I've known these folks for quite a while, right? 5 or 6 years by then, and I said, well, all right, I'll do it. It took me about a week, and then I got back to them and says, yeah, I'll do it, because it seemed like they needed people, right? And so about the same time, about 2 or 3 months earlier, I was really enamored by the sound of the 5-string, right? It was starting to make its way into mainstream music, and I really enjoyed the depth, being able to go down. I used to tune my old BC Rich Eagle bass that I had. I used to tune the notes down, right? Every half turn gave me a half step. I mean, a pure half step. So I could crank it a half step, know I got that low E flat, right? But that gets a little distracting while playing, right? So I just prayed. I said, Lord, I mean, it'd be really cool to have a 5-string, but trying to take $2,500 out of the house budget when this is just a hobby, it was a little bit steep. So it's like, all right, so I'll just pray and just believe, right? So sure enough, 2 months later, noodling innocently at the store, they're saying drum and bass wars, and I'm not connecting the two things. So I'm just saying, all right, I'm just gonna, I'll help you, right? And so at the end of the thing, and I had, again, the Lord just confirmed a couple of things in me just while I was practicing and figuring out what to do, what to play. And so the Lord's Prayer that I arranged on bass, with chords and everything, I remember my dad singing that to me when I was a little kid.
Right.
I'd be on his chest, and he wasn't a real big guy, but when he sang those bass notes, he just resonated, and I just remember, still to this day, I just remember the resonance of his chest cavity, up against mine. And plus, just spiritually, the Lord's Prayer has a pretty deep meaning, in a lot of ways. So anyways, I ended up with the grand prize.
You won. You went to the contest.
Yep.
Won the contest. Won the war.
Run the war. Well, there was actually 2 wars. There was a battle, and then there was the war. So they had like three weekends. They had 4 drummers, 4 bassists, and we weren't competing against each other. We would just go on stage, play our thing.
They had judges.
Clear it, and they had judges and everything. So so I won the my week, which first or second week, I forget now. But so then those winners went on for that last week of the month, and bam, there it was. And
wow,
that was a good time. It was a really good time.
And that was the grand prize.
That was the grand prize.
You got your 5-string bass. Got your
bass.
prayer answered.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Got this, and here it is now. And you have a 6-string too, right?
Yeah, I do. That was another gift.
You've moved up to another string, which is amazing to me on bass. So.
That's another story for another day.
Well, no, you can tell we got a little time. Can you summarize it?
Oh,
How'd
sure.
you get the 6-string?
So it was, it's. I'll share this story. This has happened twice to me with instruments, right? Years and years ago, when we were living in St. Pete, I had again kind of did that prayer thing. It says like, Lord, it'd be great to get a Gibson, right? And so I got a consulting job from a friend, and I was going to do it for free. You know, just some reviewing a document that he had, right? Engineering document. So I reviewed it, and I says, okay, here, John, here's the document. Looks good. Tweak this. Maybe include that. It was fine. Well, he ended up writing me a check for $475 for the thing, and I was like, look, no, this is pro bono. This is like, I'm your friend, right? I'm gonna no, I got to pay you. It's like, wow, geez, okay, thank you.
Terrific.
So I'm literally driving home from work, and I'm feeling the car pulling into this pawn shop. And I pull into the pawn shop, and here on the wall is a Gibson guitar, and the ironic thing is, I didn't pray for a Les Paul. I didn't pray for a specific model, just Gibson. You know what was on the headstock? Gibson.
Right on.
Not another word. Not another word.
Not a model number.
Not
nothing.
a model. Nothing. And it was
So
it was the early version of the Studio, Les Paul Studio, right? But it was just
Oh,
it was
wow.
another one of those days.
Yeah.
Something was like pulling me there, right?
Well,
and
that's
and it's all
fantastic.
provided for. It was like so it was awesome.
And just that money, just
a
the
cash,
exact amount,
almost to the penny. Almost
Isn't
to the
that
penny.
well?
with
That
tax
is
and
amazing.
everything,
Well, it's great to hear stories of faith, and I know you're strong in that. And so we're getting ready. You mentioned the Lord's Prayer. We're getting ready. We're going to do this. This is an arrangement you made
Yes.
on the bass guitar
Right.
of the Lord's Prayer, and I'm going to try and do some little orchestration patches behind it because I don't want to get in your way. I've heard you play it. It's a gorgeous rendition. You do a beautiful job. You're very extremely talented. I mean, it's always been a joy playing with you every time we do.
And I like love the textures that you put behind things. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, but we're gonna play this song, and I hope anybody that watches this also gets a little inspiration. I appreciate you being on the show, Adrian. You're another Deltona resident here over on Lake Monroe.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. That's right.
And
Enjoying that lake.
we're gonna play this next song, the Lord's Prayer, Adrian Zvarych arrangement. I'm Eric Alexander. You're watching Deltona TV, and this is Solo Notes.